This is the Omen Max 16, and it's the most powerful gaming laptop I've tested this year so far, but it does cost a casual $5,100, at least for the unit that I have here, which is a bit more than some used cars. But hey, it is fully loaded. It does have a shiny new NVIDIA RTX 5090 that runs up to 175 watts, a QHD Plus OLED display at 240 Hz, and 2 terabytes of NVMe SSD storage. Basically, if it had wheels, it could probably drive itself to a LAN party. Now, a bunch of you asked me to check this out after my last few laptop reviews, and HP actually sent this unit over. I am partnering with them on this video, but as always, my thoughts are 100% my own. Now, from a design standpoint, this is easily one of the best looking 16-inch gaming laptops I've seen. The clean, all-metal chassis with just the Omen logo in the center is, well, chef's kiss. It feels premium, sturdy, and smooth to the touch. Yes, it will still pick up fingerprints because of course it does, but it actually hides them better than most other black-coated laptops I've tested. It weighs about 5.92 pounds, which is lighter than other HX-based laptops I've reviewed, though the 330-watt power brick will remind you you're carrying serious firepower. But let's get into performance, because that's what most of you care about. And this laptop absolutely smashed some of the benchmarks I've been running this year. The new Intel Core Ultra 9 275HX processor, based on the Arrow Lake architecture, shows up with impressive single-core clock speeds. Now this matters for stuff like loading web pages and snappy app performance. Speedometer scores came in at 38, making this the fastest Windows laptop I've tested so far. Multi-core scores? Even better. The Omen Max 16 scored over 2,000, easily outpacing any Ryzen HX 370 CPU I've tested, and showing a 23% boost over last year's i9 14900HX. Plus, it's actually more efficient, giving slightly better battery life while compiling projects like Mozilla Firefox. Now for video creators, Premiere Pro scores were solid, but DaVinci Resolve is where this thing truly shines. I stacked multiple layers using a mix of formats, threw in GPU effects, and the RTX 5090 chewed through all of it. NVIDIA even added a third encoder this year, up from 2 on the 4090, and render times were significantly faster. Scrubbing through the timeline was smoother too, especially with GPU-heavy effects. As for raw GPU performance, the RTX 5090 inside this is a beast, running at 175 watts and dominated the 3D Mark Steel Nomad test. It outperformed last year's 4090 by 17%. Blender users, well, this one is kind of for you. It did render about 3.5% faster than the average 5090 laptop, and about 10% faster than 49-based laptops I've tested in the past. But we gotta talk about real-world gaming. I tested everything with DLSS and FrameGen off, except Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora, which really benefits from DLSS. The 5090 handles QHD Plus gaming like a champ, and even some less demanding titles at 4K. FrameGen 2 is a game changer, literally. Like in Black Myth Wukong, I went from 150 FPS to around 230 FPS. Before, to do this, I had to force this through the NVIDIA app, but now with the latest DLSS multi-frame generation update, it's built right into Black Myth Wukong. You can choose 2 times or 4 times, and it looks great. Yes, there's occasional artifacting, but unless you're pausing to pixel peep during combat, you're good to go. Now, I don't personally use FrameGen for fast-paced FPS games like Marvel Rivals. I want latency to be as low as possible. But if you're just chilling and you're a casual gamer, it only adds about 15 to 20 milliseconds of latency, and the higher FPS is worth it for casual play. But regardless of what game you play, make sure to enable NVIDIA Reflex if the game supports it to get the lowest latency possible. Now, 3 or 4 years ago, DLSS and FrameGen were kinda rough. Now they've matured big time. In RPGs like Cyberpunk, you can enable both and enjoy high frame rates with almost no visual downside. Sure, I agree, devs could still optimize their games better, but hey, I'll take DLSS 4 over nothing. But thermals are where things get interesting. These new Intel CPUs can run up to 105 degrees Celsius, but the Omen Max 16 stayed in the 80s even with the Unleashed performance profile on. The keyboard deck stayed cool even after 2 hours of gaming. Fan noise though, yeah, that can get kinda loud. The Unleashed profile really lets the system rip with a 255 watt total package power, but your fans will sound like a jet taking off. And look, this is standard for all gaming laptops. This is my advice. If you don't need every last drop of power, use the performance profile. It still beats most 5090 laptops I've tested, and fan noise stays under 60 dB. But the coolest feature though, HP and Intel teamed up in this auto fan cleaner. it literally reverses the fan direction every so often to blow dust out of the laptop. You can also activate it manually in the command center. You can literally now tell people that your laptop farts dust. As for ports, you have quite a bit. On the left-hand side, you do have 2 Thunderbolt 4 ports. Unfortunately, it's not Thunderbolt 5, and a combo audio jack. On the right, you have 1 USB-A port that supports up to 10 gigabits per second. On the back, another USB-A, HDMI 2.1, which supports 8K 60, a 2.5 gigabit per second Ethernet port, and of course, the power input. Now, the display, wow. This OLED panel is absolute fire. 16 inches, 240 hertz, amazing color accuracy, wide gamut, and about 500 nits of peak brightness. SDR sits around 422. It just pops, like really pops. And because it's using a glass panel, it just looks a lot more vibrant than a matte one. But yes, you will get quite a bit of reflection. Now there's no fingerprint scanner, but you do get IR facial recognition via Windows Hello. I also tested for PWM flicker, and the good news is it doesn't kick in until you're under 25% brightness, so most people won't even notice a thing. All right, so this is what the 1080p webcam looks like on the HP Omen Max 16. You guys let me know how it looks, and let me know how the microphones sound. As for the keyboard, it's probably one of the most unique on a gaming laptop this year. The translucent keys equal max RGB glow, and you can obviously sync the color to the light bar on the bottom, which is a first for an Omen laptop. Now, not everyone loves RGB, but personally I dig it as long as you can customize the colors to what you want. The keys are super clicky, the deck is rubberized, and there's even a decently sized numpad. Sticker placement though, come on, what is this? The Intel and Nvidia badges look like they had a messy breakup, filed for divorce, and now they're awkwardly co-parenting the palm rest. You can practically feel the tension. Like one's sleeping on the couch and the other got the RGB lighting in the settlement. The touchpad is solid, but it's not glass. It feels like HP's ocean-bound touchpad material, which is basically really fancy plastic. It's responsive and uses Windows precision drivers, but yes, this should have been a glass one. As for the speakers, there's 2 on the bottom, but on a chassis this big, I would have loved to see 4. As you can see, the bottom lid is all metal, 6 screws to get in. All you need is a Phillips screwdriver, but I love the attention to the detail internally. I think this just sets itself apart from other laptops on the market. And what you have here is Omen Tempest Cooling Pro, which is their version of a vapor chamber cooler. As you can see, the RAM is upgradable to 64 gigabytes. You have 2 slots for drives. They're obviously populated right now, and it gets good read and write speeds. Big fans, about 1.6 millimeter gap to allow more airflow through the chassis for better cooling. And the cool thing is they're using their own version of liquid metal. So instead of mixing gallium with indium, they coated it with silicone. And what this does is increases the viscosity. So there's less chances of leakage, but you get the same sort of heat dissipation. As for the battery, it's 83 watt hours. For everyday regular use, my PCMark Modern test got over 6 hours of use before needing to charge. So here's the bottom line. The Omen Max 16 is ridiculously fast. The RTX 5090 inside of here performs better than any other laptop I've tested so far. The OLED display is stunning, the design is clean, and the keyboard is absolutely awesome. Yes, it's expensive. Yes, the fans can get loud like every other gaming laptop, but if you're looking for a no compromise, plug and destroy everything kind of gaming laptop, HP kind of nailed it. Now, if you're thinking of picking it up, I'll drop a link in the description down below. As always, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one.